At some point or another, you've probably been told that the answer to binge eating is more structure, more planning, more control. Maybe you've tried tracking macros, cutting carbs, avoiding sugar, or maybe you've gone the other way, ditched the rules, embraced intuitive eating, and still found yourself feeling chaotic around food. Today, I want to offer something different, a tool that isn't about control or rules, but about connection with yourself. I'm going to walk you through one of the very first strategies I teach in One Body to Love. It's called the 1-2-Eat method, and I mentioned it in a few episodes back. And it's designed to help you interrupt that automatic binge-restrict cycle in a way that's simple, doable, and grounded in your real life. This isn't about being good. It's about being present with your body, your needs, and your relationship with food. Welcome to One Body to Love, where we're rewriting the rules around food, body image, and self-acceptance. I'm Dr. Meredith McKenzie, therapist, coach, and your guide to a life free from diet culture and food guilt. If you ever felt stuck in the cycle of binging, restricting, or struggling to feel at home in your body, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll explore emotional eating, body image, and joyful movement through solo episodes, expert interviews, and real-life coaching sessions. Because your body is not the problem. This is your space to learn, heal, and finally break free, and to discover what it means to love the body you're in. If you've struggled with binge eating, you've probably asked yourself some version of, why can't I stop? And maybe you've tried to answer that question with more rules, more structure, or more control. You've cut out foods, you've avoided certain snacks, you've waited to eat until it was the right time for you to eat, and maybe you've even tried intuitive eating, but still found yourself spiraling around food and wondering what you're missing. Here's what I want you to hear. You're not missing willpower, that's for sure. You're missing connection. And that disconnection isn't your fault. Diet culture has taught us, especially as women, to tune out of our bodies, to disregard the messages that our bodies are sending us. We've been trained to ignore hunger, to override cravings, to treat satisfaction like something is dangerous or overly indulgent. We've learned to believe that being hungry is a sign of weakness, and feeling full means we've done something wrong, that we should be able to power through that feeling of discomfort. And so, over time, we lose touch with the cues our bodies are constantly trying to send us. That is our body's job. That's how it keeps us alive and functioning well. When your body needs food, it has this whole set of tools to tell you. It sends a signal, that rumbling in your stomach, cloudy thinking, irritability, low energy, that dull ache in your throat. That's the telltale for me. Or that buzz of preoccupation that makes it hard to concentrate. This has become very popularly known nowadays as food noise. And a lot of people think that if they're experiencing food noise, there's something wrong with them, when in fact, it's actually their body trying to give them important information. But if you've spent years skipping meals, smoking or vaping to suppress your appetite, sleeping poorly, multitasking through lunch, or eating only when you've earned it, those signals are going to start to fade. Your body may be doing its job and speaking clearly as it possibly can, but you're not tuned into the volume anymore. In the last episode, episode 5, we talked about emotional labor and caregiving, about how so many women, especially mothers, helpers, and perfectionists, are trained to put everyone else's needs before their own. They invalidate their emotions, they don't feel comfortable asking for help, and they struggle to say no. They constantly prioritize doing, fixing, and helping. And I need to raise my hand as I'm saying this because it's something that I struggle with every day as well. And eventually that disconnect extends to food. Because if you don't believe your emotions matter, how can you trust your hunger? If your needs always come last, how can you respond to them before they become a crisis? This is how binge eating happens for so many people. It's not a failure of willpower, it's a breakdown in communication. Your body is trying to tell you something, but that message is muffled, it's disrupted, unreceived. And so what starts as subtle, tiredness, tension, low blood sugar, feelings of stress, builds and builds until it becomes urgent. That urgency feels like, I have to eat something right now. I can't stop once I start. I didn't even notice how much I ate until I was uncomfortably full. I wasn't even hungry, I just needed something. That is the result of disconnection. And rebuilding that connection isn't about finding the perfect diet, it's about learning to listen again. That's where the 1-2-eat method comes in. It's one of the first tools I teach inside One Body to Love because it helps you start where you are, right in the moment where that automatic binge behavior would normally take over, and gives you a chance to respond with awareness, care, and choice. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works and what it looks like in real life. But before we get there, I just want you to hold on to this. You're not out of control. You've just been taught to stop listening to your body. And your body is still speaking. We're just going to help you hear it again. So if binge eating isn't about willpower, what do we do instead? We reconnect. Because we can't restrict our way into peace. You can't out-discipline biology. And you can't build trust by trying to micromanage your body. What we need to do is pause, to interrupt the automatic cycle of guilt, shame, and self-blame, and get really curious about what is actually happening beneath the surface. That's exactly what the 1-2-eat method is designed to do. This isn't, by any means, a rule or replacement for hunger cues. It's a bridge back to your body when you've been taught not to trust it. So here's how it works. Step 1, you're asking yourself, what is happening in my body? This first check-in brings you back to physical sensations, which is something that can feel really uncomfortable at first. What is going on in your body right now? And I'll encourage you to do this with me as you're listening. Do you feel hunger in your stomach? Maybe a gnawing feeling, a gurgling, a sense of emptiness? Do you feel it in your throat? A dull ache or pulling sensation? Do you feel lightheaded or foggy in your head? Is your mood off? Are you feeling irritable, snappy, or low energy? Or do you feel numb or like you're just on autopilot? Even if you're not used to tuning into your body, just asking these questions gently brings your awareness back online. And it reminds you, my body has something to say. Now, step 2, what's happening in my mind? Now, shift inward, notice your thoughts. Are you telling yourself, I shouldn't eat this? Are you thinking, well, I already blew it today, might as well keep going? Are you bargaining with yourself, saying something like, I'll just have a few now and skip dinner later? Or are you rushing, judging, or trying to silence the needs that you have? These mental patterns matter because they often show you what is driving your eating isn't hunger, it's guilt, rebellion, or a sense of urgency. When you don't feel emotionally safe with food, we start to eating around our emotions instead of through them. Step 2 helps you bring those patterns into the light, gently, without shame. So that brings us to step 8. What do I need right now? This is where you shift from reaction to response. Ask yourself, what would feel supportive in this moment? Maybe it's a snack because you are, in fact, hungry. Maybe it's a full meal because you've been running on empty. Maybe it's something grounding, a glass of water, a few deep breaths, a moment of stillness before you eat. Maybe you do choose to eat something sweet or crunchy or salty, something that's really appetizing. But now it's from a place of choice and not panic. And that difference, it changes everything. The goal here isn't to talk yourself out of eating. That's still rooted in control when you do that. The goal is to listen, to slow down just enough to ask, what do I need? What would feel like care for myself in this moment? And this simple process creates a gap. And in that gap, you get to build a new kind of relationship with food, one that's rooted in respect and clarity and trust with yourself. You're not trying to be perfect and you're not following rules. You're simply practicing being present. That's how the binge-restrict cycle begins to unravel. Not through willpower, but through presence. Now, let me tell you about a client. I'll call her Renee. Renee came to me feeling completely defeated. She tried everything: macro counting, portion control, eating by the clock and not eating after 8 p.m., clean eating, and she even dabbled a little bit in intuitive eating. She told me, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I can't seem to do it. Once I start eating, I can't stop. And she truly believed that there was something inherently wrong with her or her body. Like everyone else had it figured out, and she was the only one who was still struggling. She felt ashamed, confused, and exhausted from trying so hard and still ending up back in the same place. She was convinced it was a willpower problem, that there was something wrong with her brain and the way she was thinking about food, that she must be addicted to food, that maybe she wasn't cut out for this kind of work. But when we started working together and unpacking her day-to-day life, it became clear that she wasn't failing. Her body was doing exactly what it had to do to survive. She started the day with good intentions, a light breakfast, protein smoothie, lots of water. She'd power through work, skipping lunch or grabbing something small. She'd go to the gym if she had time, and she tried to avoid snacks. By the time she got home, she was drained. She was overstimulated, underfed, and emotionally had flatlined. And almost every night, the same thing would happen. She'd find herself standing at the pantry, eating peanut butter off the spoon, grazing on chips, telling herself, I'll just have one more, until the guilt set in. Then she'd promise to do better the next day. She'd be stricter, cleaner, more control. And so the cycle repeated itself. When I introduced the 1-2-eat method, we didn't start with changing what she was eating. We started by slowing it down. Just a few seconds before eating to check in. What's happening in my body? What's happening in my mind? At first, she was skeptical. She was so used to reacting on autopilot, it felt unnatural to pause. But over time, something shifted for her. She noticed that her binges often started not with hunger, but with resentment, with loneliness, with exhaustion. She noticed that by feeding herself earlier in the day, she wasn't as frantic at night. She noticed that when she gave herself permission to eat, rather than bargaining with herself, she felt satisfied sooner, calmer, safer. Renee didn't stop binging because she found the right rules. She stopped binging because she started listening. Let's talk about what food freedom actually looks like, because this is something that gets misrepresented all the time. On one end of the spectrum, you have diet culture telling you to eat less, weigh less, and fear your hunger. On the other end, you sometimes see a version of food freedom that maybe feels vague or chaotic or performative even. Like it's just about eating whatever, whenever, and pretending that everything's fine. And maybe that's a version that you have experienced in the past when you've tried intuitive eating before. But real food freedom, it's something entirely different. It's so much more grounded than you think. Food freedom looks like this. You feel hunger coming on, and you feed it without arguing with yourself about whether you're allowed to eat. You eat a satisfying meal and you don't spiral into guilt. You enjoy a cookie or a slice of pizza or something that used to feel bad, and it doesn't derail your whole day. You stop obsessing about what's for dinner before you even finish lunch. And you stop thinking about food all the time. So yes, food noise is something that is biologically normal and evolutionarily there for us to be able to be driven to food. But thinking about food all the time isn't the normal part. And maybe the biggest shift, it's quiet. Food no longer takes up so much space in your brain. You have more mental energy. You feel more steady. You're no longer bracing for the next binge or the next reset or the next round of shame that you're just going to be bowled over by. You just eat, you nourish, you enjoy, you move on. That's food freedom, not chaos, not recklessness, but calm, stability, and self-trust. And it's available to you, even if you've struggled for years, even if you're skeptical, even if you feel like you've tried everything. You can build this, and you don't have to do it alone. If this episode made something click for you, if you recognized yourself in the 1-2-eat method or in Renee's story, I want you to know this is how it starts. Healing your relationship with food isn't about doing more. It's about coming home to yourself. And if you're ready to take this work deeper, I'd love to walk that path with you. Inside One Body to Love, we start with exactly what we explored in today's episode. Tools that help you reconnect with your body and get out of that binge-restrict spiral. But that's just the beginning. In the program, you'll also get weekly live group coaching calls with me for a full year, a private eating assessment to map out your unique patterns, 10 step-by-step modules that are going to be live this go around to help you become a confident intuitive eater, not just feeling like you're doing this on your own, a full workbook with journaling prompts and self-reflection tools, access to bonus workshops on body image, movement, and more, and a supportive, non-judgmental community of women doing this work alongside you. We're opening up the live round to One Body to Love in just a few days, and it's the first time that I've offered it live since 2023. If you want to be one of the first to know when doors open, just send me a DM on Instagram with the word love, LOVE, and I'll make sure that you're on the early access list. You don't need to figure this out alone. You just need one body to love and the right support to help you come back to it. That's it for today's episode of One Body to Love. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me. These conversations around food and body image can be deeply personal, and the fact that you showed up today open and curious means more than I can say. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Come connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Meredith McKenzie. Send me a message, share what stood out, or just say hi. If you're ready to take the next step toward food freedom and finally feel at home in your body, head to meredithmckenzie.ca/OBTL to learn more about the One Body to Love program. You'll find everything you need to begin healing your relationship with food with support every step of the way. If you're enjoying the show, one of the best ways to show support is by leaving a quick rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. Your words help more women find this space and feel less alone. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You deserve a life of peace with food and your body.